Hey guys, Danny Johnson here. Today we're going to be installing a new gas water heater. So please just remember, this is just for demonstration purposes. I don't take any liability for anything that could happen. You have gas, hot water, all kinds of things that can happen. Mine had split open, so it was time for a new one. So we're going to go ahead and replace it today. So I'm going to show you how to drain, uncouple and recouple the water heater. So the first thing we're going to do is come and turn the gas supply off. So you're going to turn this perpendicular to the pipe. So that's how you know it is in the off position. You want to be very careful with this gas. Also, we're going to come down to the actual control unit. We're going to turn it back to the pilot area and the off position. As you can see, sometimes you have to push in to turn it to off. So we want to make sure that it turns off and is no longer trying to heat the water heater. Next, we're going to go ahead and come up to our water supply. This is the inlet supply that goes into the tank for the cold side. And so we're going to close this. Now notice, if you have one of these degassing tanks, you'll still hear pressure. As long as you do, the tank will still be filled. In my case, they had hooked it up wrong, and the hot was going into the cold side, so it wasn't until I turned this off that I stopped water coming in. So if you still hear water coming in, turn off your water supply. Now, I turned my gas and everything off the night before, so I'm dealing with cool water. Please remember that this can be very, very hot as it's coming out. So you want to be very careful as you're performing these next steps. Just remember, I'm doing this with cold water. Yours could still be scalding hot. Now, as it comes time to drain this, I want to show you on this valve at the bottom. Notice how if you open it too much, it closes again. So this has to be in the perpendicular position, or it will close the valve again, and so then you'll wonder why it's not draining. So go ahead and attach your garden hose to the bottom here. So again, remember to open the valve only to where it's in line with the hose, and be careful because this water still could be very hot coming out. Next, we're going to come up and open up our release valve. So you will lose some pressure here, and careful, this is very hot. In my case, I turned this off the night before, so I'm dealing with all cold water. But you want to open that valve and let this water out too, but be careful because you don't want to get burned. So make sure that you let it sit for quite a while. Inside the home, you can turn on the hot water and eventually it will stop coming out, but that will help with pressurization. And this is what it will look like coming out of the hose. It's going to come out at a pretty low flow rate. If you can, try to recover some of the water, at least I did, to water parts of the grass that were dying, and you probably won't be able to save all the water that comes out of it, so just let it go down into the storm drain. Next, we're going to take a 1/4-inch drive and we're going to remove the little screw that's in the exhaust vent. So remember, this is another part that can be very hot. So make sure that if it's been running recently, you don't get burned. So we're just going to go ahead and remove the 2 screws on this. And that's going to allow us just to basically uncouple this and set it out of the way. Okay, now we're going to go after our water lines. And so I just used a big adjustable wrench. And it should be marked on top of the water heater which side was hot and which side was cold. So just keep that in mind. You might lose a little bit of water that's still in those lines. So just let it flow out a little bit. Now, I even used some compressed air to kind of shoot up into the tank and let it come back out to make sure everything was out. Sometimes you get some clogs with the sediment and it won't flow. And I went ahead and vacuumed up with a shop vac everything in the tray just so that it was a little cleaner of a job as I was going to be removing everything here. Next, we went after the gas line, so I went ahead and, with my big adjustable wrench, just removed that again and unthreaded it and set it out of the way. So again, make sure you don't have any gas coming out at this point. Make sure the shutoff valve is working properly. And you'll notice that the tank still has some at the bottom, so as you tip it, it'll spill out. So it's a good idea to turn this valve back closed again. Okay, now we're going to take our 14mm socket and we're going to take off the straps that hold the water heater to the wall. And so just loosen the nut and disconnect these. Both of them will just come undone. Now we're going to go ahead and unthread this for our pressure relief. They won't give you a new one of those. And we're also taking this one out for the gas line because you need to keep that part too. I actually went in too and I took the water heater to a manufacturer who is with the same brand, and it was under warranty. They were very nice and got me a whole new water heater. And then I went and cleaned up the threads that was in the gas line, and I put the dope on it and threaded it back in and let that cure. So you want to do that as soon as you get access to your water heater so it has time to set up. And so that threaded back in, and then I did use the adjustable wrench as well slightly just to tighten it down so it wouldn't leak, but don't go too crazy and break anything. I then used some painter's tape to tape up the water heater straps to get them out of the way so that I could get the water heater in. I had a friend help me lift the water heater up into place, which was very nice. And next we hooked up our lines, so just make sure you're hooking it up. It'll show you hot and cold on the top of the water heater, so make sure you're getting the proper lines on the right side. And then just used our adjustable wrench to tighten them down until they were snug as well, and turned the water back on, checked for leaks, and got them good and tight. Okay, everything was looking pretty good there. Next we came in, made sure that our valve was closed here. You don't want it spilling out water on you. We brought in our new exhaust vent here, and you'll notice that 3 of these feet will line up perfectly, and then you got to really push that last one into place, so it uses that pressure to kind of set it in place and keep it there. Then we just brought our exhaust vent into place and a few self-tapping screws for that. We came through and hooked up our gas line. We rethreaded our pipe here for the pressure valve, and then turned our gas back on. Listened and smelled for any leaks here. That's very important with the gas. And now when it was time to light it, please follow the instructions that it says. With your equipment, it may have different instructions. For this one, you turn it to pilot light, you hold the button down in and click it, and then it says to keep holding that button down for about a minute to make sure that it's still lit. You'll hear it kind of whoosh and start up that way, and then as you look down in it, you'll be able to see the pilot light. You'll see the flame on with the cover off. So we turned it to our desired temperature. You can see the green light flashing, showing the status is working, and if you look into the inspection hole, you can see the flame that's lit. So anyway, that's how easy it is to remove and install a new water heater. Please check my video description for other videos like this, especially the warranty one for this. I was about to go spend $800 on a new one and found it was under warranty, and it was a quick turnaround. They had one in stock at a place nearby. So anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.